6 hours. That is how long the port has before the storm makes landfall. The weather station issued the warning at noon, Category 2. Wind gusts up to 130 kilometers per hour. Mandatory evacuation of all port facilities by 6 in the evening. But at Pier 7, a massive blue container ship sits fully loaded. 400 containers stacked 5 high on its deck. Somewhere inside that steel maze are 42 containers marked with red medical crosses and yellow hazard diamonds. Medications, portable generators, emergency water purification units, the island's hurricane relief supply. If those containers stay on the ship, 30,000 people lose their emergency stockpile. The port commander stands on the dock in the growing wind, rain jacket already zipped to his chin, radio in one hand, clipboard in the other. He has 6 hours, 2 gantry cranes, and 1 question. Which 42 containers out of 400? Port Santo Mares, 12:15 in the afternoon. The sky is gray and heavy. The first rain bands are already passing, light drizzle that spots the concrete dock surface. The wind is steady at 30 kilometers per hour, pushing small whitecaps across the harbor. The blue container ship sits high at its mooring lines, hull streaked with salt and rust. On its deck, the containers form a colorful wall, red, green, blue, gray, rising 5 tiers above the waterline. The port commander radios the ship's first officer. He needs the stowage plan, the map showing exactly where each container sits in the ship's grid. The first officer sends it to the port office printer. The commander spreads the printout on the hood of his white pickup truck, rain spotting the paper. He circles the 42 priority containers with a red marker. They are scattered across the deck, some on top, some buried under 3 layers of other boxes. 2 yellow gantry cranes stand over Pier 7. Each crane lifts 40 tons per cycle. Each cycle, pick up, swing, lower onto truck, takes 4 minutes. 2 cranes running non-stop for 6 hours means 180 possible lifts. They need 42 priority containers, but 11 are buried under other boxes. Those must be removed first. 72 lifts total. Possible, but tight. The crane operators climb into their glass-bottom cabs 60 meters above the dock. Below, 6 truck drivers sit in their cabs with engines running. 2 yellow reach stackers idle near the container yard. The foreman assigns lanes. Lane 1 and 2 for medical supplies. Lane 3 for generators. Lane 4 for water units. At 12:30, the first crane swings over the ship. The first container is easy, a red 40-footer on top of the stack. The crane spreader descends, locks onto the corner castings with a metallic clank, and lifts. The red container rises, swings over the dock, and lowers onto a waiting blue flatbed truck. A dock worker slaps the container's side, the signal. The truck rolls toward the staging area. The second crane targets a green container 3 rows back. A gust of wind catches it mid-swing. It rotates. The crane operator freezes the hoist and waits. The wind eases. He sets the container on the second truck. The foreman writes the container number on his clipboard. By 1:30, the cranes have pulled 18 containers off the ship, all top layer fully exposed. Now the hard work begins. Priority container number 19 sits under 2 layers of non-priority boxes. The crane must remove those first, stack them on the dock, then dig out the medical container beneath. The yellow reach stacker rolls into action. Its operator grabs temporary containers with its top-mounted spreader and restacks them in the overflow yard. The reach stacker's tires leave dark marks on the wet concrete as it pivots between loads. The wind picks up. The port's anemometer reads 45 kilometers per hour at 2 o'clock. Rain comes in heavier bands now, blurring the view from the crane cabs. The operators switch on their windshield wipers. Below, dock workers pull their hoods up and lean into the gusts as they guide each container onto the trucks. Water pools on the dock surface, reflecting the cranes and the colored containers in rippling mirror images. By 3:30, 31 priority containers are off the ship and loaded onto trucks. 11 remain. The crane operators are running faster now, 3-minute cycles instead of 4. The spreaders clang onto corner castings. Containers rise and swing. Trucks pull in and pull out. The foreman's clipboard is wet, the ink bleeding on the checklist. 4:15. The wind hits 60 kilometers per hour. The gantry crane's wind speed alarm triggers. A yellow warning light flashes on the operator's control panel. The crane's rated limit is 70. 10 more, and they shut down. The first crane is mid-lift when a gust slams into a hanging green container. It swings wide over the dock, pendulum-like. The operator locks the hoist and hits the trolley brake. A dock worker below scrambles sideways to clear the shadow of the swinging load. The container settles. The operator lowers it onto a truck with one hand on the joystick, the other gripping the armrest. The foreman radios both operators. Shorter swing arcs, slower rotation. Rain turns heavy. Sheets of water sweep across the dock. The ship rocks at its mooring lines. The bollards creak. A dock worker retightens one of the bow lines, pulling the thick rope with both hands and looping it over the steel bollard. By 5 o'clock, 5 priority containers remain. The sky is nearly black. The port floodlights kick on, casting harsh white light across the dock. Rain streaks through the light beams like static on a screen. Puddles cover the entire dock surface. The reach stacker's tires throw spray as it races between the yard and the crane zone. The wind gauge reads 68. 2 kilometers from shutdown. One crane operator radios the foreman. His voice is tense. He can feel the cab swaying. The foreman looks up at the crane through the rain. The boom is visibly moving in the gusts. He makes a decision. One crane continues. The other shuts down and locks its boom in storm position. They will finish with one crane. 5:20. 3 containers left. The single crane works faster. Spreader down, lock, lift, swing, lower. The dock workers below are soaked, their orange vests dark with rain. One worker guides a truck backward through ankle-deep water, waving a flashlight because hand signals are invisible in the downpour. 5:45. The last priority container, a gray 20-footer with a red cross, rises off the ship's deck. The wind catches it. It swings. The operator holds. It stabilizes. He drops it onto the final truck. The driver secures the twist locks and drives toward the gate. The foreman waves him through. 5:52. The port commander picks up his radio. All 42 priority containers are off the ship and on trucks heading to the inland distribution center. He gives the order, evacuate the port. The remaining crane locks its boom in storm position, facing into the wind. The operators descend the access ladders in the rain. The reach stackers park in the lee of the container stacks, engines off. The blue container ship stays at Pier 7, extra mooring lines added, its captain riding out the storm at the dock. The green tugboat shelters behind the breakwater, barely visible through the rain. By 6:15, the port is empty. No workers, no trucks, no cranes moving. Just the wind howling through the container stacks and rain hammering the concrete. The floodlights still burn, illuminating an abandoned landscape of steel and water. 40 kilometers inland, a convoy of trucks pulls into the hurricane relief warehouse. Forklift operators in dry coveralls unload the containers. Medical supplies go into climate-controlled storage. Generators line up on the loading dock, ready for deployment the moment the storm passes. The storm hits at 8 that evening. Wind gusts reach 120 kilometers per hour. Power goes out across the coast. But the generators are ready. The medications are safe. And at Port Santomares, the gantry cranes stand dark against the lightning sky, their booms locked, waiting for morning.